Welcome you all to Disrupt the Drift. I am Baron Baptiste. This is a place where we can tell the truth and the truth can be told. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Adam Jablin. And today we are going to talk about traffic, not cars and that kind of traffic, but the traffic going on in your head and what causes traffic in your mind, cluttering the mind, and where you're losing power, you're losing freedom, you're losing your creative, natural self-expression. We're going to get into the traffic in your life and maybe how to remove the traffic so you can open up the space, open up the lane, open up the pathway for flow and momentum in life. How's that sound, Adam?
Man, it's the perfect topic.
Yeah.
The perfect topic. And to tell people a little bit about myself and why this is such an important topic. I'm 18 years clean and sober.
Yeah.
I still have traffic, but before that,
Yeah.
the traffic in my head led me to alcoholism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say a little bit more about that.
Yeah. All of the thoughts, all of the clutter,
Yeah.
all of which would lead to insecurities, fears, self-doubt, self-deprecation. Putting on a mask, trying to show people that I'm something that I don't feel like I really am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And if you don't clear the traffic, it's just going to get congested and more congested.
Yeah.
For me, the way to heal that noise, to get rid of that noise,
Yeah.
a couple of cocktails, a couple of pills.
Just cloud it all out.
Yeah.
Go foggy, go numb, anesthetize.
Numb.
Don't feel it.
Exactly.
It's not like the traffic goes away. The traffic's there. And then even the aftermath of drinking.
Oh,
The day after, the morning after, the night before, it's like busier, more painful, more anguish, more despair, more anxiety.
yep.
More what?
Shame,
Yeah,
more guilt,
yeah,
more feeling like a fraud, more trying to remember your lies,
yeah,
what you came up with, what you manifested in your brain,
yeah,
and then all the traffic comes back.
yeah. And then going out into the world, in your life, putting on a face
All day.
that everything's looking good, everything's fine. You're
All
just
day.
running normal, but underneath it all and inside yourself, clutter,
It's the worst
anguish.
you've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I like what you're saying, and two things. So I want to talk about identifying what traffic is and what we're talking about.
Yep.
And then, but the traffic that you're speaking to, like using alcohol to numb it out, fog it out, cloud it out. Alcohol isn't the only way people use to numb and anesthetize and drown out the traffic.
Not even close.
Because they're not managing life. They're not in a flow, in alignment with life, in their own inner alignment where they're lining up in such a way that they're moving, breathing, having their being from their center and dealing with life as it comes at them or as life shows up, problems, challenges, difficulties, the natural suffering that comes with life, because life is suffering.
It is.
There's pain in life.
Yep.
And we can use pain to grow, to strengthen, to discover our potential, to discover who we are, to learn, to gain wisdom, to gain experience. We can use pain just like we use pain when we train the body, yoga practice or physical training of any kind of physical discipline. There's pain, and through that pain, you strengthen the bones, the muscles, you strengthen something. You also strengthen from the physical providence, you can develop character, discipline, mindset of focus.
Yeah.
And a kind of resiliency. You develop through the physical providence, you develop the mental and the way of being with pain in a way that it strengthens you. But now we're talking more on the spiritual, mental, the level of your being, the level of self. Yeah. And so you use pain, or the alternative is use substances of any kind. Could be shopping, could be Netflix, could be sexing, smoking, drinking, drama in life as a way of sparking anger, resentment. All the reactivity generates all those kind of hormones that chemistry that is its own kind of numbing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
any form of escape,
Yeah.
even that third yoga practice that day, that second workout.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Whatever that escape
Yeah.
path is,
Running.
not running.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not deal
Yeah.
with what's really going on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yoga practice, people can become fanatical about it, and it can be a healthy alternative for a period of time. But like anything, if you're using it to escape life, you're not getting what's really available through that training because you're misusing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Human beings just do that with stuff until you're ready to confront what's actually going on with you. And maybe it's getting back to the traffic, identifying traffic. What are we talking about? Traffic. Yeah.
Down.
Traffic is like if you're driving down the freeway. So I lived in LA for decades, and I'd get on the 405 freeway and be cruising along at 2 p.m. And suddenly you start seeing cars filtering onto the freeway. And as it gets later in the day, you're driving from Malibu out to Orange County. You start seeing more and more cars piling in, and then things start slowing down. And then people start there's more chaos in that traffic. Not only are things slowed down and impeded, but thwarted, the movement's thwarted, the flow, the momentum. But then suddenly it comes to a stop, or it just gets chaotic, chaos, confusion. People are getting upset in traffic. But to me, it's all these little moments of reactivity. Someone says something to you, maybe that they shouldn't have said. They said it in the tone that was triggering or upsetting, and you react to that. It upset you.
Yeah.
And right there, that's internal traffic. Or someone says they're going to do something, and then they don't do it. Or they say they'll be somewhere at a certain time, and then they show up 30 minutes late. And then right there, you're reacting. That's more internal traffic in your head. It's taking up mental space. You wake up at 3 a.m. with anxiety, worry, anguish, pain. Maybe there's uncertainty in our current environment, social, cultural, the global landscape. There's so much uncertainty in the economy, in politics, in division, cancel culture, attack culture. It's like all over the place. There's plenty to be reacted to, but the more you're reacting to all of that, the more traffic you're building up.
And there's an attachment to it. You're attached.
Yeah. It has its own addictive quality.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we detach?
Yeah. And before we go there, the pain, it causes suffering, right?
Yeah.
And then in that, if you're not handling life, if you're not, again, moving, breathing, having your being from your center, like calm, inner center of equanimity, inner composure, things happening, but you're flowing from center. So things roll off you like water off a duck's back. Or things just, as the Zen say, if someone shoots an arrow at you, don't be there like that. The alternative is you're in reactivity that causes inner suffering, lots of traffic. And so what is it? So that pain, again, you numb out. You find ways to numb out.
Yeah.
Right? Then what is it to remove traffic? What is that? Like, where would you start in your life? I have some things to say about it.
Yeah.
What do you say about?
Yeah. Let's say currently where I am in my life.
Yeah.
My attachment will mostly be, I'm attached to a certain outcome that I'm really trying to get. And I'm doing all of the work, but I want all of the answers right now. I want that email answered. I want that contract signed.
Yeah.
I want that bill paid right. And when things are not getting accomplished,
Like, is it over controlling?
it's a form of that.
Yeah.
It's a form of that. And then you say, what does the traffic look like in your life? So you have those thoughts, but then you have children and what's going on with your children.
Yeah.
Then there's business, but within the business, there's cash flow, there's clients, so people we work with and when you're not centered, eventually, like you were saying with the cars, trying to go in and out of lanes, these thoughts start colliding. They're not as compartmentalized as you think. You're starting to overreact to this situation really because of that situation. And it's like an engine in your head. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And like you said, with pain, there are natural good ways of taking that pain and learning to let go.
Yeah.
But if you don't learn how to do that, people try to find an escape. I just don't want to feel this anymore. I don't even want to look at this. I don't want to confront it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have that conversation.
So you start ignoring.
Yeah.
Start pretending it's not there. You start avoiding. Start, checking out.
Yep.
Yeah, in different ways. Lots of human beings have thousands of ways they check out.
Yeah. Justifying one bad behavior because it's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, they're clean and sober. They haven't had a drink or a drug for years, but they'll justify the sexism,
the smoking.
Yeah.
Stop quitting, start smoking.
Because,
start eating. Yeah.
At least I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. That one evil thing.
Yeah.
But they're not looking at the big picture.
And this is
like, and the source.
Yeah.
The source of what causes the addiction. Yeah.
Oh, it's like you said, you have to find one of your lines that I love is finding your true north.
Yeah.
And acting from there.
Yeah. Body, mind, being, spirit lined up, creator, creature.
Yeah.
And then create into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I brought this up earlier, you and I, when we were talking earlier at the program about state of mind, state of body, physiology, state, and then story. Because your state of mind, state of being gives a story, right? And then that gives you your strategy, the actions you take in life. What did Einstein say? We're either living in a hostile world or a friendly world, something like that.
So it's the most important decision you'll ever make.
Yeah. What was the quote?
Yeah. I think it's something
like that.
The most important decision you'll ever make. Is it a hostile universe?
Oh, yeah. Or a friendly universe. Yeah. And we have say in that.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you and I are not saying to ignore problems.
Yeah.
And we're not saying.
No, we're actually saying confront them, handle them, deal with them head on.
Because the traffic will open up.
Yeah. You brought up like kids earlier.
Yeah.
Parents who let their kids dominate them, run their lives. And it's chaos. It's confusion. It's confusion for the kids.
100%.
And then the parents left in chaos. That's all traffic, noise. Then you bring order and some discipline in a way that gives direction and order and then allows for flow. Or if you are, I know in my world, like of running a teams and having staff or things like that, if I didn't give order and direction and a clear hat, okay, here are your tasks, here's your role, here's your job. And then that gives them order, and it takes it. If I don't give that, then they're operating in confusion, which brings more traffic over into my head because things are happening or not happening. Small examples of how things start showing up. Someone says they'll do something, right? And then, okay, they say they'll do it. And then a couple weeks later, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, wait, did that thing get handled or completed? because they never got back to me. They never reported back and said, okay, that's done. I completed that.
Yeah.
But that was on me to train my staff, say, okay, when you complete that thing, just let me know so I can check it off and it's out of my head. It doesn't, it's not developing into traffic, because you start getting little things like that building up. That's traffic developing.
Yeah.
Those small buildups.
And that shows you also, in comparison, let's say that's a healthy centered man.
Yeah.
Or a healthy centered individual, because you have it with your subconscious. This didn't get taken care of.
Yeah.
It wakes you up at night.
Yeah.
There's a little traffic. And then the next day you handle it. But if we hadn't handled it.
Yeah.
And it just compounds.
Yeah.
Avoiding it's not going to make it any better.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also training your environment in such a way that creates the order so that you don't have traffic coming your way.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like I've had staff where they say, okay, I'll do that. I did this thing, right? It's done. And then come to find out later, they didn't do it. Okay. Is that I could get upset with them, right? And then that creates more traffic in my head. Or I could take responsibility. Well, wait, I didn't train them properly, or they need to just be taken off the bus, removed, give them some chances, be responsible. Okay, look, you said you did this, you didn't do what happened here, clear it up, but I'm confronting it, right? I'm being responsible for it, giving them the opportunity to be responsible for it. And then if they keep doing that, then I have to be responsible for all the traffic I'm letting into my head and my space. And so, because I have a commitment to freedom too, right? So I can be free. I have freedom. I have access to my creative flow, creativity. So I can be up to and fulfilling on the things that are important to me. I'm aiming for something, aiming for a vision, purpose. And so to reduce the traffic, but then to be responsible for the traffic, to be removing the traffic. And then we can't remove all of it because life's always going to be sending curveballs. So it's like when the curveballs come, what is there to learn? I always like the stance of it's 100% on me.
Yeah.
Either way. So if I haven't created order, so if something comes my way, is that somehow my fault and I need to clean that up, learn from that fail, and then put in a new way? Or if a curveball just comes and it was out of my realm of control, then how am I responding to that? Reacting or responding? Again, responsible is able to respond, right? And so am I responding from center so that I can handle the thing, or in the moment say, okay, I can just let this go. That's the other thing of developing the muscle called letting go. When, now, where, right here, just letting stuff go. Most people are not good at letting stuff go. Something happens, they go down the rabbit hole of their mind. They start something happens, they get all these reactive thoughts about it. They start interacting with those thoughts, start going down a rabbit hole, a black hole. They linger in there. They keep going down that hole, carrying it around. That's that dead weight of traffic. Things slow down, things stop. You lose flow, you lose momentum, you lose freedom. Now you're living in an upset all of the time. But to develop that muscle, and that's a practice. And most people, they don't have that muscle. It's like they have a muscle of a 3-month-old, but you've got to start developing that muscle of just letting go.
On the minute.
Instant forgiveness. Yeah.
There were also 3 steps that you showed there. I don't even know if you were aware of it, where you were taking the power, right? So the first thing was the job that you assigned didn't get done.
Yeah.
And then you realize that you now have the power of choice. You're still in the traffic, but you can teach the leader that you taught, this is how I want it done, give them the space to do it. 2, you had that choice to say, you know what, you're not right on my team.
Yeah.
But you were taking the power back in each and every situation. Then there was the next step, which was, how is it going to proceed? How is it going to proceed? And then the third step was letting it go. But when you don't do each one of those steps, can you imagine how powerless you feel?
Yeah. Yeah. Good. And there's a step even before that, before it all.
The step before the steps.
Yeah. Is what?
Go ahead.
I would say awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness. It starts with awareness. You have to be aware of your own reaction, or you're aware of, okay, what is typical reaction for you to a similar like situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. This stirs me up. Or you feel your emotional feathers getting stirred up, ruffling up. And then you're like, wait, find your feet, find your breath, bring your mind down into your body, stop, drop in, get present, fall awake, and notice you have choice right there. You could go down that rabbit hole, that dark hole, into blame, fault, shame, despair, doubt, all that. A hostile universe.
Yep.
Yeah. Or right there, you pause, you let it go, you wake up, you get clear. And again, that state of being, state of mind, from right there, you're operating on a different story, different kind of thoughts, different kind of emotions. Right there, it gives you a different strategy, a different path to take, alternative path to the usual default reactive path, which gives you more of what you don't want, more of what you've already experienced and know you don't want more of that. You're complaining about that, but you're not being responsible for that.
Yeah.
So to be able to respond from center, and the power of letting go in the moment, the power of being awake, aware, and present. Get present.
You just broke down in that story.
Yeah.
Addiction and recovery, just so you know.
Yeah. Say more about that.
Okay. So when you're not aware.
Yeah.
When you're not going to take the power to make that decision. And then, like you said, and you repeat it over and over again.
Yeah.
And when you're repeating it, there's no doubt that you're trying to escape because it's bothering you, right? So you're escaping into your compulsiveness, you're escaping into your obsessiveness, you're escaping into your addiction because it feels good. You want to feel good right now.
Yeah.
Repeating the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That's insanity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's one of the steps with it. Like you have to realize that you're acting insane.
Yeah.
And then the other way you went, which was taking the full responsibility, getting centered, getting clear, letting go. That's recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's recovery.
Yeah.
That's how serious this topic of traffic is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That noise in your head, that traffic in your head.
Yeah.
Those sirens, those horns, those cars start pile up, crash.
Yeah.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
They'll kill you.
Start getting present to giving stuff up as a practice in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to go to 12-step meetings. Back in the day, I used to go often. I never had a problem with alcohol like that, but I would get so much just from people's shares and other kind of ways that I had addictive tendencies with food, with relationships, just things like that. But then back to this state of mind, state of being, body state. There was something they used to say at 12-step meetings when you're hungry, angry, and tired, something like that. Halt.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, halt.
Angry, lonely, tired.
Lonely, tired. Yeah.
Which is your state.
Yeah, which is a state. And then in there, you're in a hostile world.
Extremely.
Yeah. And that's where the tendency to act out is, right?
100%.
Right there.
100%. Especially in early recovery, right? What they're trying to tell you is when you're hungry now, you're angry, you're restless, irritable. you're lonely, you're sad, you feel bad about yourself, or you're tired, you're exhausted, you're making bad choices. You're this close away from curing it. You're that close away.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, if it's sex, if it's alcohol, if it's pills, if it's a snort, whatever your thing is,
Yeah.
you're that close when you're in those 4 states.
Yeah. 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 That's good. And the awareness. So when you're in halt,
Yeah.
hungry, angry, lonely, tired, let's say that state, the only way to disrupt that, the first step is awareness.
100%.
Right. You got to have that self-aware.
Yeah.
Right. Now, okay, I'm in this state. And then what have you learned about disrupting or shifting into a different internal environment? In that moment,
You know
right?
this about me?
Yeah. So you get aware, and then what's the shift or the choice or the action or what is there?
So let me also show you one thing that I used to do that was once positive, and then I turned negative, and what is really positive.
Yeah.
So for a time there, other than meetings and working what I would call, they would say my program, I would use exercise until exercise became its own thing. Right.
Yeah.
And then really spiritual principles had to take over.
Yeah.
So in that awareness, what's really healthy for me, and you've been a brother for me in this, is you pick up the phone and share it. You talk about it with somebody you trust.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, now I'm not holding it by myself.
You're not holding it in the dark place where fungus grows and bad things grow and have you act out. You open the doors and windows through calling someone that has the kind of listening, right? That has the kind of can get you in that moment and say, hey, wake up.
Yeah.
This is your life right here. Here's a pivotal moment, right? Here's a choice. What else? So, okay.
With experience.
Yeah.
Else, not only are you trusting them, but they have the experience to share with you.
Yeah.
From their point of view.
Yeah.
I had that once.
Yeah.
Let me show you what I did to get out of it.
What else in the moment? If you're on your own, okay, so you could call someone.
So you call somebody.
What's another one?
For me,
whatever's
going to send me. For me, so when I center myself, and I do go in, that is also a form.
How do you center yourself?
For me, I would call it prayer.
Yeah.
I would call it prayer because I know my sick mind can't heal a sick mind.
Yeah.
I need a divine.
The mind can't heal the mind.
Right?
Yeah.
Divine invisible forces. I need a power greater than myself. I need a higher calling.
Yeah.
What I choose to call God, but the universe, Yahweh, Jesus, whatever your form of, but it's a way for me to get quiet.
So it's
for help.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you in this prayer. Is it the other thing I loved in 12 step was hand it over, give it over to a power greater than yourself.
That's what I'm doing.
It's like giving it up, giving it off, letting it go to something greater.
Yeah.
There's a kind of faith in that.
100%.
Yeah.
That's the muscle you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Faith is a muscle. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
Faith is a muscle.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there, and in giving it up like that, suddenly you don't have to, you're not the captain of your own universe, the driver of your own vehicle. You're giving it up in a way that frees you up to just what?
I'm glad you said it because your shoulders aren't wide enough and there's not enough gas in the tank.
Yeah.
It's freeing you up to give you the power to realize that this is going to pass. This is going to pass.
This too shall pass. This moment, this state of mind, this state of being.
It gives you pause. It's a pause.
Right there, that altered state.
100%.
Of mind, state of being, state of body.
Yeah.
And it, in that state, you enter a new world, in a different story.
The most elevated.
Yeah. Barely.
But it's certain.
But it's the door cracks open. Just some light comes through. And by that light, even if it's
just a creak.
Yeah.
But at least there's some light in the room.
Yeah.
If you're in a pitch black room.
Just a keyhole of light.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Because that's a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
It's a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And then another thing I would do is meditate.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you can start quieting the mind, you start realizing it's not just that thought.
Yeah.
There's a million different thoughts in there that are going
Yeah.
on.
But if you bring your presence, your attention to the mind and all of its imaginations, illusions, fantasies, all the thoughts, if you bring the mind, the attention to the body, the physicality, it into the physical universe, your feet, your body, it's a grounding, you start locating yourself in the present. And in the present, things start clearing up. Again, maybe just through a keyhole of light, but now you're taking responsibility for your life. And it's moment to moment like that.
And you realize more than ever, day after day, time after time, repetition after repetition, it really isn't inside you. It's all inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you're blaming the world or other people or that's just not, there's no hope. It's hopeless,
man.
You're trapped, and there's no way out.
Victims don't get well.
Yeah.
One of those things I was taught right in the beginning. Stop blaming other people. Take full responsibility for your life.
Yeah. 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 It's your life.
It's your life.
Nobody else's. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to become? As Shakespeare said, I say this a lot. Shakespeare said, you know who you are and not who you could be. But to discover who you could be, you have to get present to who you are, what you are in the moment, and expand. And in that awareness, you're now in a more expanded space. There's more space. And keep expanding your space. And in that space, the mind may be doing all of its trickery and all the chatter in the head and the commentary and the doubt but you go beyond that, you just have a greater space. So that can be there, but now it starts falling into the background because now you're operating, life is happening in a bigger, you're located in a new place, in a bigger space.
So what was that? So we just did state. Change your state. Then the story just expanded, like you just said with Shakespeare.
Yeah.
What was that third S? It was state, story,
strategy. Yeah. Because that gives you your actions in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're doing, what you're actioning, what the way to go, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you taught that today. And what I loved about it is about action, right? Like, and I have to always remember, Adam, I'm talking to myself all the time. I'm in the action business. I'm not in the outcome business.
Yeah.
I want to control the outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. And outcome-based people lose themselves.
Can't control the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're left in the experience of having lost yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're split, you're fractured.
And the cycle starts all over again.
Yeah.
Because you're a new state.
And then you go numb and anesthetized. You're right back in that vicious cycle.
You're back in the cycle.
Yeah.
But I did this and I did this and I did call them.
Yeah.
I did take care of business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not my fault. It's their fault. Yeah.
You're right back. You just jumped right back into the loop.
Yeah. Reminds me of that story. I do not remember where this came from, but you probably know it. There's a story of a woman who said, she wrote this short story and she said, I walked down a street, I fell in a hole. I crawled out, got myself out of the hole. And then the next day I walked down the street, I fell back in the hole. I pulled myself out of the hole. The next day I walked around that street. This time I walked around the hole. And then she said, and then the next day I walked down a different street.
I've never heard of that. But
it's something, I might be messing it up, but it's something like that. Yeah. Yeah. How many times do you have to keep falling in that hole?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that goes back to the insanity and that goes back to the
Yeah. Yeah.
And you and I have seen it everywhere. We share a lot of stories. We'll share our favorite, what our experience are or where our favorite athletes are. And one of the favorite things I ever learned from Michael Jordan was when he stopped trying to control the game and predict the outcome and overtake everything. And he allowed the game to come to him.
Yeah.
He allowed it. He learned to trust his teammates, right? He said, that's when I became a master.
Yeah.
A master So there's mastery in everything. There's mastery in yoga. There's mastery in basketball. There's mastery in recovery. There's mastery in business.
There's mastery of self.
There's mastery of self.
Yeah.
But it always comes back to this form of allowing, detaching, not controlling, getting rid of the traffic and the noise.
Yeah. Really good. All right. I think this is a good place to wrap it, man. Really good. Thank you. Where can people find you?
Well, I made it easy for myself and everybody. It's at Adam Javelin on all platforms. You could
Instagram. Right. Yeah. You've got a lot of followers, like 250K followers. Wow.
It took a while.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
It was not over.
Yeah. That'd be a good podcast. Talk about how you built up your social.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
It took time.
Yeah.
It took time.
I'm sure.
Persistence.
Yeah.
It's true. It's everything we talk about. It's one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's one post at a time.
Yeah.
It's getting really uncomfortable putting myself out there.
Yeah.
And then that becomes its own addiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That becomes its own.
Yeah. If you're not aware.
Oh my God.
You gotta watch.
Yeah.
Right?
You
Gotta always be awake. Yeah.
For anybody out there, if you DM me, I'll always get back to you within 24 hours. And you just look up.
Especially around recovery. You work with people in recovery and do a lot of work like that.
Yeah. Recovery and people with the obsessive mind, the compulsive mind, the addictive mind, and really how to harness and channel that. What we're talking about now.
Yeah.
And channel that to good, to their purpose, to their meaning.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah.
All right, you all. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Check me out, BaronBaptiste.com.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, leave comments. We love hearing from you. Like the show, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review. And we appreciate you. Share the show. And until next time, keep disrupting the drift. Keep aiming true, be bold, and peace be with you.